Hi, I'm Rebecca Carner, Biofield Tuner. I am going to do a short video today, and I'm hoping to do a few more in this slightly foreshortened format. And what I'd like to focus on are just sort of smaller concepts as opposed to doing videos of whole tunings on things. I'd like to drop in a concept and then do just a quick sort of tuning into and landing of that frequency, of that vibration. The concept for today's video came out of my last week's Monday, during which I had to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning for a jury duty. And as it turned out, I then went through 10.5 hours of jury questioning on what would have been, or what is, or what was, I suppose, I don't know if it's over now, a trial involving homicide by gun. And the judge, who I truly cannot speak highly enough, I was so impressed with the way she ran her courtroom and her humanity and professionalism. I just really giant shout out to Judge Letitia Jackson. Wow, may you be an example of what is coming in terms of judicial capacity in this country. If that is true, I celebrate that. Thank you. Thank you for your beautiful work that day. But because of the hard, intense, heartbreaking, I don't know what you want to call it, nature of the trial, the questioning for jury selection was very intensive because it was necessary for the lawyers and for the judge to know what people's experiences had been and if they would be able to render an impartial verdict. And as somebody who underwent that questioning, it was very trying in some ways emotionally, and it was very touching to be a part of the small pool of humanity, of my neighbors, of people who live near me, being screened to make such a hefty decision. And during the course of said questioning, I had to get up and respond to many very probing questions into a mic in a courtroom. And I don't have a lot of experience with that. Also, given the pool of people who happened to be in the room at the time, not a lot of people in there have heard of Biofield Tuning. And I found myself in a community that formed a remarkable amount of coherence during the course of the day, which was very long and very arduous for all of us for different reasons. But when I got up to questioning, they asked me what I did for a living. And for the first time in a really long time, I stammered, because I knew many of, if not maybe everybody in the room, had no context to understand what I did for a living, as fundamental as it is. And when I was going to bed later that night, I was a little bit sad because I thought, wow, Rebecca, you didn't represent yourself very well. You know, I was proud of the way I answered these really difficult questions. I was proud of the whole room. I was really impressed, I will say it again, with the judge. I was impressed in some ways by both of the lawyer teams, but they had a really difficult job to do. And somebody's freedom was in the balance. And when the prosecutor asked what I did, and I kind of faltered and stammered, and then I responded to her, and she was like, you know, what is that? And I honestly, I don't fully remember what I answered, but later that night, as I was going to bed and being a little bit angry at myself for not representing myself unabashedly, I thought, we were all in that room because of a gun and a gavel. The clack of the gun that ended lives. It was two people's lives that were lost by gunfire. And then when that judge strikes her gavel at the end of that trial, the alleged perpetrator's freedom and civil liberties, and really how the rest of their life plays out, will result in the bang of that gavel, the clack of a gun and the bang of a gavel. And I thought, so many of the people in the room probably don't think they had any knowledge of what in the world biofield tuning is. And it sounded pretty woo, and it sounded a little out there, and I stammered and didn't really represent. But very much we were all in there because of vibrations. And there's nobody in that room that didn't get that. And I'm so sorry that I didn't say it in that way, because it's absolutely the truth. And these transmissions, these vibrations, these patterns, these expressions of us all, this creates the life, each of our lives, and the life in the world that we live in. I'm feeling some emotion come up. It is such a fundamental and easy, simple truth. But the complexities in living that out never cease to astound me. And so with that concept, that whether a person's heard of biofield tuning or whether you think this is woo-woo or a belief system or not, the fundamental truth that our existences are experienced and meted out one vibration at a time is what I'd like to tune into in this moment. And without too much story or too much narrative, if we could all feel into the truth of that and the fundamental groundwork that the vibrations that we create and the vibrations that others around us create are our life experience. And I think everybody in that courtroom would absolutely agree with that. And I have thought, both in the remainder of last week and then halfway through this week, I've really thought about the people, my peers in that room that day, who were selected to serve on that jury. And I have also thought of the lives lost by the clack of that gun, whether it was rendered by the fella in the room or not. It is not my business, but lives were lost. And their friends and families were impacted. And the histories of the peers of the jurors, potential jurors, and the memories that they were having to recount during the questioning. I've thought of many of them in the past 10 days as well. there's kind of a meme sound bite out there in social media land that, you know, don't judge people too harshly because you really don't know what they've lived through. Let me tell you, I knew that to be true from my work. You don't know what is going to come out when somebody walks into your studio and climbs up on the therapy table and we start the work. You don't know by looking at somebody what they've been through. And let me tell you, that was even more so true when I sat for many hours with the general public in my county and listened to their histories as questioned by lawyers. It is so beautiful and so heartbreaking. And when these memories and when our vibrations and when our electromagnetic contractions and pulses and heartbeats can be more coherent, everything feels better. That's what biofield tuning is. People's biases get formed in so many ways. And when you sit down and fully listen to them, they almost always make some kind of sense, even if you don't agree with their same bias. It's not like, well, that's ridiculous that you came to that conclusion. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't agree with you. I really like pistachio ice cream, but I can see why you maybe don't like pistachio ice cream given your history with pistachios. Okay, great. I get that. But underneath all that is this really simplistic fundamental truth. Of coherent sine waves and how good and light things feel when they are coherent and are understood and are heard. And really, it's my recent experience with the gun. The result of the gun. We were called there because of a gun and because of the judgment of a gavel. That I really wanted to tune into the potential of us maybe living without the need of that. Because I can pretty much guarantee that the initial event was brought about by a profound series of incoherence, of incoherent events, thoughts, deeds, and actions. And may that be mitigated, and maybe if we all understand, if only on a silent vibrational level, what a tuned collective field, a tuned biofield can feel like. If that is possible, if that is made more true because of this video, may it be so. May it be so. I'm going to quickly wrap up the field. Yeah. Wow. That was really moving. I have literally thought about making this video since last Monday night when I was going to sleep after a really long and intense day. And after having pondered the frequencies and pondering the concept this much, I didn't think this much would come out up in me emotionally, but I see it was with deep emotion and so much love and tenderness that I did this short tuning today. I hope that made sense. I hope that helped. It is with such a giant song in my heart. Thank you. I'll be doing more short concepts and tunings. I'm really into this.